You're a mum, you're a mum, you're a busy mum. Come listen to the Busy Mum podcast. Life hacks and inspiration for the busy modern mum.
On today's episode of the Busy Mum podcast, I speak with a friend of mine, Abbey Adamson from Sage and Luna. Abbey has 3 children. She's had 2 twin girls first and then her little boy River. She's also married to a bearded man who she loves dearly. Abbey has designed her life with him to give them the flexibility they need to raise their children the way they want to. This is part 1 of a 2-part interview. The second interview with Abbey solely focuses on moving. And if you're contemplating moving your family interstate, side note, we are, that's why I had this discussion with her, you should definitely listen in. It'll be released on Wednesday. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Busy Mum podcast, Abbey. How are you this afternoon?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Can you just share with us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. Well, I'm going to try to say, going to try to avoid saying that I'm a mum first.
Okay.
Because I don't like to just be defined as being a mum, I guess. So I am really passionate about fashion. That's one of my favourite things. I'm a fierce feminist, and so I always try to share things about feminism because I think it's super important. I am a mum of 3 beautiful kids and 2 little dogs, and I'm a wife and a business owner.
Wow. So why do you love fashion so much?
I don't know. I've been trying to pinpoint this lately because I just feel like there's such a bad rap given to fashion, and that there's probably not a lot of meaning behind it, and that it could be really materialistic. But I think for me, and I was talking to my sister about this today, it's just a real way that I can express myself. Mm-hmm. So I just know that when I put on an outfit, it can put me in the right mood if I need it to. It can make me feel better about myself, even if that's just putting on active wear because I'm feeling a little bit under the weather with a big knit and a comfy pair of shoes, and I can leave the house and feel comfortable and it just makes me feel good. Mm-hmm. Or I can really dress myself up, put on a pair of heels, and I just feel like I can do anything. So I think that's why, because it gives me a real sense of power, I guess.
Oh, okay. And what's your views on because they do talk a lot about the wastage around the fashion industry, and I went to Cotton On at the Birkenhead DFO just recently, and there are so many items there that aren't that well made.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't last that long.
There is a real issue, and I think the issue comes with when you're looking at whether you want to be fashionable or whether you want to have style. And so I think fashion plays a role in that you see something on the catwalk and you're like, I really want to have this. And so you have the powerhouses like Zara and even Cotton On, Topshop. They can just look at the runway and they can get that produced within 2 weeks, or what feels like a week sometimes.
Yeah.
You see Gucci put something on the catwalk and the next second it's in Zara. Yeah. And so I think that obviously is really bad for the environment. It's not just bad for the environment, but it's bad for our wallets as well, right?
Exactly.
You see with things like Afterpay and all of that sort of stuff, we're going into debt for really tiny amounts of money that is just kind of a bit needless. And so I think the difference is when you've got style, and so you're looking at purchasing something that's an investment piece, something that you're in love with, and it's going to showcase your personal style for a long amount of time. And I think that the fashion industry really needs to lead the way in making sure that we're helping people create style and not just follow fashion.
Yeah, I never actually thought of it that way, but that's really good advice. Don't be fashionable, be stylish, classic, timeless.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy pieces that will last season on season on season. And I've got a few jackets that are like that. And mainly because I just don't have time to go shopping, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And when I do, I think I'm only going to buy it if I love it and if it brings me joy. And if it doesn't, I don't buy it. So that's...
And I find that as well. If I do actually go and buy a piece of fast fashion, it just doesn't stay in my wardrobe. And it's not necessarily because the quality is rubbish and it just gets holes in it or something. It's often not that at all. It's just because in a few weeks' time I'm sick of it, and so I just like could give it to Vinnie's or something.
Yeah.
But there's actual pieces in my wardrobe that I spent like a fair bit of money on, and I'm not talking like thousands of dollars, but like a couple of $100s for a jacket. And I might have bought that. I'm thinking of like this leopard print faux fur jacket that I've got, which I bought 8 years ago. Actually, my husband bought it for me when we were first courting, because I loved it, and so he bought it for me. And it was a couple of $100s, and I've still got that, and I still wear it like every winter. And every winter, people still say that's the most amazing jacket ever.
That's so good.
Yeah, I think it's just important. Like if you love fashion or you love style, or and it makes you feel good, then just making like a conscious choice of what you're purchasing is super important.
And just segue in from fashion and style into your business, can you just talk to us a little bit about what your business is, why you started it, and let's just dive into that.
Sure. So my business is called Sage and Luna, and it is baby bags. And so I started it when I was on maternity leave with my twins, Sage and Luna, hence the name Sage and Luna. And I started it for a couple of reasons. So first of all, the thought of going back to the corporate world was just really scary to me. Having children and needing flexibility and hearing all the horror stories of daycare and everyone getting sick all the time and you needing to take carers leave. And it was just a really overwhelming thought for me to have to go back to the corporate world. And then, so I wanted to start a business. And then as someone who loves fashion and I love to express myself with my clothes and my accessories, I just really felt like when I became a mum, it was harder for me to do that. So suddenly I was having to push this pram and carry around a bag that was, the size of a car boot so I could fit everything in. And when I was pregnant, my husband did everything. I didn't really do anything because I was just still in shock that I was pregnant with twins. So he really took over everything. But the one thing I said was, I am picking my baby bag. You are not picking my baby bag. And I spent so many hours Googling baby bag and beautiful baby bag, and I just couldn't find one. So I went to a mother's group, and it would just used to come up all the time. Did you go for a really expensive baby bag, or did you just buy an ugly one from Kmart for $20? That was kind of what everyone thought the options were. So I just thought, maybe I'll design some baby bags. So I did. And that's how we got here.
I think that's when I met you, when you were coming up with the idea, and I was like, is she going to do it? Isn't she going to do it? And you did it. And I was like, oh. And then I think you went to Hong Kong. Did you take your mum or something to Hong Kong to talk to your suppliers or something as well? Yeah.
So I actually set it all up. The whole business I've just set up using Skype and email. So, when I got my first lot of bags, it was kind of like a fingers crossed moment. I just invested some money into this random company in China. I don't even really know what I'm going to get. But thankfully it all worked out really well and we had a really good relationship. But we just got to the point where they couldn't be our manufacturers anymore. They couldn't keep up with the volume that we needed. And so we had to source another manufacturer, and we were in a really fortunate position that by that stage we were having manufacturers come to us asking for the business.
Yep.
So that was really nice. We got to kind of pick and choose. And so because we were suddenly starting to put really big numbers in, our minimum quantities were 5 times what we'd previously done. We just thought it's probably a good idea to go over there and meet them before
you are a smart woman. We haven't done that yet, and we've been buying these little dot bags in the thousands.
Yeah. I think as well, it's one of those things where every kind of batch you get, this batch is perfect and what you wanted, and then the next batch they might just change the way that they do the stitching on the inside, and then so you kind of go, I didn't want them to do that, but it's not too bad, so you don't say anything, and then the next time they've changed the zip pull.
I always say something every order. This particular bag guy that we had, I ordered off him 3 times. The first time the bags came folded, so it had a big crease in it, and flat packed, you know. And then I said, we can't do that. Can you open them up, blah, blah, blah. Then the second lot came and they were really good. And we were like, yep, this is good. The canvas is thicker. The zip pull's okay. You know, the stitching's good. The third lot came, totally different. The bag was a bit smaller and the quality wasn't 100% there. And I was like, dude, we're done. And then he goes, oh, so when will you order the other bags? I'm like, look, we'll be in touch. Like never.
I know. Yeah.
But at the same time, I got samples from someone else because I thought, oh, this guy's going to be dodgy. And
that's what you've just got to do. So we were like, okay, we're going to go over there. We're going to meet them. And it was such a good experience. And I had a little 4-month-old at the time, River. So he came with me and it was just so fun. It was actually quite emotional, because I'd never seen them in production before, and you know, I'd always just get these bags arrive on my doorstep, and it was kind of very transactional. And then I went into this warehouse, and there was, you know, all of these people sitting there, and the only bags they were making at the time were our bags. It was our order, and so, you know, there's just our bags just everywhere, and they're all in the different stages, and it was really nice. It was really good.
Yeah, your bags are quite luscious, aren't they? They're really high quality, nice fabric. Good. Is it leather? It's leather, isn't it? Leather bags only, and designed very well. So it's very good.
Thank you.
I'm not sure what your corporate background was, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't bag design.
No, it wasn't. I was an EA and then in HR.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So no fashion, no like logistical experience, nothing. So it really just goes to prove that anyone can do anything, really, can't they?
Well, if you're passionate about it, absolutely. And so you went also to the UK. I saw again, I follow you around. I'm a bit of a stalker. I'm like, what is she doing now? Just because life is so exciting.
It's not. It's really not that exciting. Oh my gosh. So not. But Isn't Instagram terrible for that?
I know, but we only ever post the good stuff, right?
Yeah, only ever.
So there should be like an Insta flat or something. So whenever you're feeling like shit, you just post all your shit photos up there.
I know. I didn't post any photos of the fact that my kids have been vomiting for 3 weeks. So my life's not amazing. Now. But anyway.
You did a photo shoot over there, is that right, in the UK?
Yeah, we did.
How did you orchestrate that?
Well, we actually went over there because we can't ship. It's very expensive for us to ship bags from Australia internationally, obviously, because our bags are really big and they weigh a fair bit, so it's too expensive. It's like the cost of the bag, really. So we went over to the UK to set up a third-party warehouse. So they would distribute our bags for us. So while we were there, we thought we might as well do like a photo shoot in London, and it was a good way to kind of kick off our whole like the UK side of the business going into Europe. So we just found a photographer online, and she really helped us set everything up. So she had lots of contacts with stylists and hair and makeup, and we did a photo shoot. It was so much fun.
Yeah, I love photo shoots. We've done a couple for the barber range thing that Ben's doing, and it takes a lot to coordinate it though, I must admit, and finding models and like flying in barbers, and Ben does all the footage himself, so that's kind of a good thing. But they're pretty and
they're very expensive too.
They can be.
The costs really rack up, I found. Particularly when you get like models involved, they can be quite pricey.
Yeah, and I know that I think in Australia, like the award rate is $100 an hour.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember what we paid. Yeah, well, we had 2 models for a 1 full day, and they were £750 each. So, I know. It was expensive. But the photos are so beautiful. They're so
really good.
They're really beautiful. But do you know what's interesting, actually? They look beautiful on our website, and they work really well on the website in terms of our homepage. They're not good for Facebook advertising.
Why not? They just don't get clicks? Or?
Not as much engagement at all. It's much better for me to put a picture of me with my kids on there in terms of advertising and engagement than using shots with the models. So that was a really good lesson learned for us.
That's very interesting. Maybe Facebook, because like you're looking at your friends and family. They want to see friends and family type things on there.
And they want a community, right? Like that's the whole point of social media, is building a community. And so that's what people want. They want to see you, and they want to understand you, and they want to see you using the bag, which is really weird because I am not a model. But anyway.
Everyone's a model, honey.
Yeah,
everyone's a model.
Now. Yeah, with Instagram, everyone's a model, right?
Yeah, just stick your butt out, suck in your stomach, pat your lips out,
Leg a little bit in front of the other leg. That's what I've
got. You got to put the toe on the ground.
Yeah. My au pair, our current au pair, she's got a following on Instagram, actually. So she's an influencer from the UK, and she's come over here, and she's like living with us, and she's also like building her Australian following. And so I'm always like, so Aoife, like, how does this look? Like, what about this angle? She's like, yeah, you got it. Yeah. So stick out the butt. And I'm like, oh gosh.
Yeah, your butt, you feel like your butt's on an angle like this.
Yeah,
it's like, oh God, that's not, it hurts my back. I'm too old for this.
Or leaning your head, and you're like, that just feels like no one would put their head like that. And then it looks great in the photo. Anyway.
We hired this model, Nevena. She was fantastic, and like she's a well-known model in Australia, and she's always working. And she, like, as soon as the camera went on, she's like, boom, boom,
I
boom,
know.
boom, and I'm like, whoa. She was just so natural at it. Yeah,
I know. So were these models. It was amazing. And I remember looking at them, the way they were walking, and thinking, that looks really weird. And then you would see the pictures and you'd be like, how do you know?
Yeah, they practice.
How do you get that?
Yeah, they practice in front of the mirror.
Yeah, they do. Amazing.
Okay.
But yeah, it was lots of fun.
So let's move on. What does your typical day look like, Abby?
So my kids don't go to daycare. We have Aoife here, who's our au pair, who's like the best thing that's ever happened to us. We love her so much. And so I try to do work in the morning and go to the gym in the morning, and then I have a few hours in the middle of the day, which I spend with the kids, because that was the whole point of me starting my business. One of the main reasons that I did it is that I could have flexibility. And so spending time in the middle of the day when the kids aren't grumpy because they just woke up, and they're not grumpy because it's the end of the day and they're exhausted and they need dinner and bath and go to bed, so spending that time is something that's super important. So we have 3 hours in the middle of the day, most of the days of the week, where we hang out, and then in the afternoon I just try to put my head down and get work done. So it's just like this chaotic balance between like trying to get to the gym, trying to have time with my kids, trying to spend enough time on Sage and Luna to keep it growing. Yeah, just a balancing act that at any time, like, I could fall off. I could fall off the tie frame at any time, but I'm okay. I'm like a bit like this, but I'm okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I think everyone in business is exactly the same. It's like, some weeks you just got it going on and everything happens, and then other weeks you're like, I'm just late for everything and my life is shit.
I know. But I really love it because, on Wednesday, so I did some work in the morning, and then I spent some time with the kids during the middle of the day, and then it got to the afternoon, and the girls and my little boy were going to go out to the park and meet one of their friends at the park. And Sage was just so emotional, and she was just crying, and like nothing was right. So she was putting on, a pair of tights and like just having a huge hissy fit because they didn't fit properly, and it was just awful. She was just so, it wasn't about the tights and it wasn't about the dress that she was wearing. She was just so emotional. And so I was able to say, okay, I had a couple of meetings, like 2 half-an-hour calls in the afternoon. And so I was able to say to her, okay, like, don't go to the park then. You can just stay here with me. And we sat on the couch, we put on a movie, and I took the calls when I needed to take the calls. But like, it was just so nice that I could make the decision that like my little girl was really emotional and just needed her mum and needed to spend some time and just have a cuddle, really.
Yeah.
And I could make that decision to do that with her.
Yeah.
So like, for all of the busyness and all of the craziness that is like my life, like running out the door, going to a cafe, like to have a call because the kids are just going crazy and like won't stop listening to The Greatest Showman. Like for all of that craziness, like I get to make those decisions and be there for her when she like actually genuinely needs me. So it's okay. It makes it worth it. It's worth it, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And like your kids won't be as little as they are forever. My kids are 6 and 9. And I think when I met you, I don't even know how old they were. They were little.
They weren't even 1.
Yeah, Bella was like so tiny, and they just grow. Like blink the eyes and they grow. But I want to talk more about your live-in au pair. Like, how did you find the live-in au pair? Like, do you just provide accommodation and then, like, once she does 20 hours work, you pay her? Or, like, how does that all work?
So we, first of all, we just found her ourselves on Facebook. So Eve is actually our second au pair. Our first au pair left us about a month ago. So she was Jenny, who was also fabulous, from Germany. So we just joined a Facebook group, put our ad up in our family letter and said, if anybody's interested, like, we'd love to have you. And so we got like a whole bunch of applicants and we just interviewed them like you. I've got an HR background, so I'm like very comfortable interviewing people for a job. So, we just did like an interview process, and of course it's an interview process for them as well. And then, we've had 2 au pairs that way, and both have been really successful. So I know there's heaps of agencies you can join, but you have to pay like finding fees, and they can be up to $1,000. And so if you're having to pay an agency $1,000 every 6 months to find you somebody, like that starts to add up, and it's just as easy to find one yourself. So how it works is she lives with us, so we give her, she's got her own room. And she's got like on the back of her room is a sunroom, and then she's got like a little terrace outdoor area as well that connects. Yep. So she does have her own space here, which is really good. So she lives here. We provide all of her food, so 3 meals a day. She doesn't have to pay any bills like internet or electricity. No, she can. It depends. It really it's. You just have to be super clear at the beginning in terms of what you want them to do. So I love to cook. So I do the cooking, but it is very, very common for the au pair to have to do the cooking in a house. And, you know, if she's just at the moment they're in the kitchen and they're baking chocolate cupcakes with jam in the centre, you know, so she does that sort of stuff with them all the time. But she works 35 hours a week, I think, and then we pay her we pay her, like, it's called pocket money. So we just pay her a certain amount, and you kind of determine that based on their experience. But the going rate's anywhere, because you're paying for their food and their like board, the going rate's anywhere between like $6 and $10 an hour.
Oh, okay,
yeah. So, and then I think when I worked it out, it cost us about $600 a week to have an au pair.
Yeah, but that's a lot of help.
Yeah,
like
it's amazing.
But then if you were going to put them in daycare, that's 3 kids in daycare. You get, 2 days maybe?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we worked it out that if we were going to put the 3 kids in daycare 5 days a week, because we get 5 days with Aoife, it would have cost us like $70,000 a year. So, I know. So it's way more cost effective. And the girls actually were in daycare when we were in Canberra, and they just hated it so much. It was just every day was a battle. They cried from the moment they got up in the morning and asked if it was a daycare day. They cried when I dropped them off. You know, sometimes I'd have to go and pick Sage up because she wouldn't stop crying. Like, it wasn't a matter of them stopping crying when Mum walked out the door. I would get there in the afternoon if they'd managed to stop them crying, and they'd see me and burst into tears again. And I just thought, it's just not worth it.
No. You did a lot of experimenting in Canberra, didn't you?
Yeah. They went to daycare in Sydney and they didn't mind it. But I think a lot of change, I guess, being in Canberra. And so I thought this year they're just going to have the year off with me. And our au pair, because I don't cope as a mother, so I wouldn't have been able to do it with an au pair.
I think you would though, but no one copes being a mum full time really, because there's no adult interaction and it's constant. Yeah. You don't get a 15-minute break or a toilet break or any break at all.
Or you can never say like, okay, I just need to step out for a second because like this is hard. You can't do that, right?
No.
And also when you've got your own business, like as much as there are days where I can get so much work done looking after the kids, you know, there are just, and I find I'm a more efficient worker than I ever was in the corporate world, because I go, okay, I've got 2 hours, so I just need to power on through.
Absolutely. And you just prioritize like the most productive activities first, and then everything else can get kind of fit in.
Yeah. Yeah. Or you give it to somebody else to do, you know?
Exactly.
Delegate.
So what's the best advice you've received, business and personal?
Okay. So the best advice I received with my business was from an old boss of mine, who is probably one of the smartest men I've ever met in my life. He was amazing, and I sat down with him. It's actually, I laugh when I think back on it, because I'd just started my business and I'd sold 12 bags, and I thought that I was like the greatest thing ever. Like, I was like, oh my God, I've sold 12 bags. I'm so amazing. Like, I'm actually killing it at life. And so I set up this meeting with my old boss, and I was like, yes, I've sold 12 bags. I don't know how he kept a straight face, actually. Like, when I was like I'm a super successful person now because I've sold 12 bags. But anyway, he was so nice to me. And he said, in business, you just it always should be profits before growth. And he kind of left it at that. And I went away and I thought about it, and it just has so many applications, and is just one of those things that I always try to keep in the forefront of my mind before I make any decision in the business. And it can kind of go from, like, you know, operational decisions to marketing and sales decisions, because there's so many people out there who, and they're only doing it because they want their business to succeed as well. But there's so many people, and I'm sure you get this all of the time with your products, like, they want stuff for free from you all the time. And what they promise is exposure and growth, right?
Brand awareness. Let's build the brand awareness.
I know. Which, like, I know, like, and, you know, sometimes there's a time and place with that, but only if it's going to result in profits to you. Yeah. So there's no, like, I always think, like, there's no point in, like, influencers approach us like on the daily, right, for a free bag. And I just think there's no, like, and we get some people that'll have like 3,000 followers, and they're getting like 3 likes on their pictures, and they're like, hey, can we have a bag, or can you offer me like a discount on your product? And I mean, we actually don't put a big enough margin on our products to be able to discount them. Like, we just don't do that. Like, we're not making a lot of profit on our bags for the sake of it. You know, we want these bags to be affordable for people to actually buy. And so, like, actually giving someone a discount on our bags is actually removing our profit. Yeah. And so if we can't see that we're going to get anything from it, we're just not going to do it, you know? Yeah. And so that's part of it, you know, that advice of profits before growth. And also it comes in when we're thinking about a new product. So we don't invest in a new product if we're saying to ourselves, well, if we invest in this new product, you know, once we get up to this many orders, we're going to make a profit from that product or whatever it is. Like, we need to be able to see a profit from the get-go, because there's no point in investing all of that money, because the whole point is to make money. Yeah. So that was definitely the best piece of business advice I ever received.
And personal advice?
I was thinking about this. I think I must be a really arrogant person, because I don't think I take on that much advice. I really should, because I'm not actually winning at life completely. But I remember the one that really sticks out was when I was pregnant with twins and I was completely overwhelmed. Every time I would see a set of twins on the street, I would go up to the mum and dad and be like, I'm having twins, I don't know what to do with myself. And every single one of them would say to me, keep them on the same schedule. Don't ever let them off the same schedule. If one wakes up and they're hungry and the other one is peacefully sleeping, wake them up and feed them. And so I followed that advice. And the one time I didn't follow that advice, one of the twins woke up, and so I fed her, but the other twin was just looking so peaceful. And I was like, no, I'm not feeding you. And she woke up like 25 minutes later. And like, so my sleep was totally ruined. The schedule was ruined for no reason, because she woke up anyway. Yeah. And so that saved me.
Okay. And you've just told us you love cooking. What are your go-to meals, or do you do meal prep?
So I do a bit. So my go-to meals, 3 kids, 4 and under, hate vegetables. I try to cook anything that I can hide vegetables in. So obviously spaghetti bolognese is a big one that we cook
every night. Spaghetti.
Like pretty much I just grate all the vegetables in there and they'll eat it. And also, weirdly, they love salmon, so they'll eat salmon and corn. So, like, that's pretty much what we eat. Spaghetti bolognese, salmon and vegetables with rice. And they like, you know when you go to Din Tai Fung and you get that Chinese vinegar and soy sauce mixed together? Oh, my kids, they just die for it. Yeah, literally. So I cook anything that I can put that Chinese vinegar and soy sauce on. I cook that all the time. And then...
Just rice?
Rice with, but then you can put vegetables in and then they'll eat the vegetables because you're like, well, it's got sauce on it, so you can eat it. So I do that. And then I do a lot of baking because I just prefer that they eat, like they're going to eat sugar, right? Like I'm not that mum that can be a sugar-free house. Like I don't have the patience for that.
No.
And the willpower myself. No. So I would prefer if I knew how much sugar is going into these things, and then I can kind of manage it that way by putting honey in or, you know, using some other kind of rice malt syrup or something if I need to. So I do a lot of baking. So usually on Sunday I'll cook a couple of meals, like a couple of meals for the week, and then I just bake. Oh, well, my thing just fell. Sorry. Sauce.
Oh!
Sorry about that, everybody. Are we there?
Yeah, that's all good. That's fine. We'll keep that in. What's one area of your life you would like to improve?
Oh, my gosh, all of it. All of it. So many things that I want to improve. I've got, like, at the beginning of the year, my husband bought me that Kiki K diary.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty.
Yeah, I mean, it's so gorgeous, right? I can't remember what it was exactly, but it's like pretty much like setting goals for your whole life and
just
how to like win at life.
Frame it and put it on the wall.
I know. And I sat there and like Boxing Day and I started filling it out and writing really nicely, and now it's just sat on my bedside table with dust on it, obviously, because that's like what happens to those things. But so I'm trying to get fit again. Like that's something that I'm really trying hard, and you know that's a really difficult. I have to really change my frame of mind with that because I've got such a habit as women, as we all do, of like saying I want to lose weight, I want to get skinny again. And with like my 2 little girls, I just want to be so conscious that I'm not talking like that. You know, and I'm talking about I just want to be healthy.
Fit and strong and healthy.
Yeah,
I always talk about strong. You want to be strong and healthy.
Yeah,
you want muscles.
Exactly.
You don't want to be like, I don't ever say you don't want to be skinny. I say you want to be strong, because my daughter does gymnastics and she's built very strongly. Like she's got muscle, and she's like, oh, does this make me look fat? I'm like, Maddie, you're 9.
It's awful.
Why do you care about that? I want to know if you can do 20 push-ups. Go do it now. And if that's a no, well, you're weak, so keep going.
Yeah. And it's because, and it doesn't matter how much you try to not say that sort of stuff, they pick it up everywhere else.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I feel like such a huge sense of responsibility on that. So my goal at the moment is just to be healthy. And if I lose a bit of weight in the meantime, that's really great too. So that's an area that I'm trying to improve, because I haven't really done exercise for like 5 years. So I joined F45, which is awesome. F45 in Marrickville, so good.
That's hardcore, man.
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Oh yeah, I'm so hardcore. I actually tried CrossFit first. Haven't done exercise in 5 years. Turned up CrossFit. It was not a good time. It was not pretty.
Oh my God.
Like classic Abbey. Anyway, so I'm trying to do that. And then I think the other area, like, I guess I'm really trying to prioritize my husband a bit more at the moment. So it's just like, he's obviously, like, I love my children, but my husband's my most important relationship. You know, he's my first love, and he's the one that when the kids leave home and
he'll still
go
be
and
there.
have their lives, he's the one that's still going to be there. So, you know, it's really important that we have an amazing relationship, and we're super lucky that it comes really naturally to us. Like I always say to people, like, if Craig and I hadn't have had such an amazing relationship before we had kids, I hate to think where we would be now, because like kids are just they put such a strain.
It's true, and I think some women have kids to keep the husbands around, and I'm like telling you that is the opposite of what you're trying to achieve there.
Exactly. So I think just finding more time to like hang out with him, and I just find sometimes like life is so busy, and he's obviously got a full-time job and he travels a lot with his work as well, and so sometimes like I will hop into bed and I'll think, I don't actually think we've had a conversation today, like yes, in passing, like what are we having for dinner? Have the kids brushed their teeth yet? We've had those kind of conversations, but we've not actually like had a conversation where you hear his view on something or his opinion or even just like shared a funny moment. And so that's something that I'm trying really hard to concentrate on at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And what's one thing you do each day to make your life run a little bit smoother?
I just don't think I have one of these things. And I think I'm going to keep listening to your podcast to get all the cool hacks.
Everyone's got something different to say.
I don't know.
That's all right. We can move on.
I think maybe having an au pair is like my secret weapon.
Absolutely. Like if I had 35 hours of help, man, I would be a rock star.
Honestly, it really has changed our lives. It's just like even my husband, who is quite like a private person, and he's not like a super talkative person, and I thought he might like have an issue with having someone in his space all the time, but he says we will always have an au pair. Like we'll have an au pair even when our kids go to school. Like we're just always having one. So I think that's probably been my hack. So if it's something that like you can manage, definitely I would suggest it.
Okay. Well, we can't have an au pair in this house. We've only got 2 bedrooms.
No. Maybe if you move to Melbourne.
Maybe, fingers crossed. Okay, so we'll just go through the quick questions and then I'll let you get on with your day. Okay, First question. What websites do you use the most?
So for work, I use Canva every day.
I love Canva. Love it.
So good, right? Mm-hmm. I heard her speak actually at a conference the other day.
Was it good?
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Just so inspiring to see another woman doing like killing it in business and like big business too, awesome. So I use Canva every day, like, and for everything, even just like our life. Like that's what I made our welcome letter in, our family letter in to get our au pair. I made that in Canva. So fun. So it's just
everyone's
fun.
A designer.
I know, that's right. Everyone's a model and everyone's a designer. And then, like, obviously I was thinking about this, like I'm not like much of a go and look at blogs and that sort of thing, but I Google recipes every day, which is just so weird because I was never a cook before I had children, like bother with it. And now like my favorite thing to do is to like Google things like healthy food for kids or healthy food with vegetables that kids can't taste. Like I just troll Google for like recipes. So that's pretty much what I do in my spare time.
Awesome. That's good though. I mean, like I usually, if I bought, like recently I bought 2 heads of broccoli. So I Googled like broccoli soup and I made this broccoli soup that I was like, oh, that wasn't the best. But my husband ate it and he goes, the texture's interesting, but the taste is really delicious. Like it tasted really good, but the texture, like I want it nice, smooth and creamy. You can't get broccoli nice, smooth and creamy.
No, you can't. You really can't.
I whizzed that thing up so much and just...
Isn't it funny how you can't get broccoli up nice and creamy, but you can get cauliflower?
Yeah, exactly.
That's weird, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Very odd. Yeah, so that's what I do.
So, okay, so what's one piece of advice you would give your pre-baby self?
I actually give this to other people as well, so not just myself. But I think life gets super serious when you have kids. You know, it can be serious when you don't have kids. Obviously, you can have a mortgage and you can have a really serious job, but there's something about having children and having these people depend on you that just takes it to a whole other level. And so I really wished that I'd understood that before I had kids and I'd enjoyed my life a little bit more. So taken some more time to enjoy my life. and done a few more things. And like our twins, like they were a surprise, and they've been like the most beautiful surprise ever, and I love them to death. But yeah, I say this to all of my friends that don't have kids, like try to get everything you want to do done before you have kids, because while you will still do things, and like we're fortunate, we're going overseas this year, and so like you still, I thought I would never be able to have another overseas holiday when I had kids. Like I literally remember thinking, I'm never going overseas again. And you know, you do, but it's different. It's a different kind of travel. And so, yeah, I always say like just try to live as much as your life as you can. And it's not like you're not going to have a life when you have children, but it's just so different.
Yeah.
And also I wish that I look back at photos of me now and like, I just wish that I hadn't had all of the insecurities about myself that I had then. And I would tell myself to just like stop giving myself such a hard time about like the way I looked, because I was actually like
gorgeous.
A real babe.
And
yeah, I was such a babe, you know. And like, you know, I'm like, you know, I'm much heavier. You know, I'm like 15 kilos heavier than I was before I had even River, right? I had twins, and then I got skinny again, and then I had River, and I'm just not shifting this weight. And to be honest, it just doesn't bother me. Like I look at myself now and I'm like, you look good. Like I look in the mirror and I put on an outfit.
Curves, baby.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my gosh, your boobs are awesome. And I just like that I've got this sense of confidence now, like post having children and probably as well like getting a little bit older, and I just wish that I'd had that when I was younger. So I'd like try to tell myself to snap out of it, I guess.
Okay, that was a long answer to a short question.
I can talk. I'm just like
That's all right. That's right. This final question, okay? What is the most useful thing you've purchased to use with your babies?
Yeah, well, obviously my Sage and Luna baby bag.
Duh.
No, but in all, well, I didn't have that with my first baby, so I'm not going to say that. But my best purchase was a Love to Dream swaddle. Saved my life.
Is that the zip-up ones?
Yeah, where their arms kind of go up right near their ears.
Yep.
Best thing ever. I give that to people.
You know what? I don't even think they existed when I had Maddie. Because I used to swaddle her so hard, like ninja swaddle, and she would still get out of the swaddle. But
because they want their hands, like my girls really want it, and same with River, they wanted their hands up around their ears.
But they want to be close. They want to be like they're in the womb. Like,
yeah, exactly. So that was the best thing that saved my life, really. So I buy that for everyone. Awesome. Put it in a Sage and Luna baby bag. There's your gift.
Awesome. Well, we're done. Thank you so much for being a part of the Busy Mum podcast. I've enjoyed speaking with you today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Busy Mum podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. You can follow me on my Instagram account, thebusymum_podcast, or on Facebook, which is the Busy Mum AU, or subscribe to my iTunes account, which is also the Busy Mum podcast. This episode is brought to you by Australia's newest ladies' leg shaving brand pins. Perfect pins, pits and private bits don't have to be neglected this winter. Maintain your hair and enjoy soft, smooth skin. Check out the website today, www.pins.com.au.